Hey there, this is Middle-Aged Nerd Seeks Genre. I'm Cody, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'll be doing the Halloween Creatures book tag, which was created by Anthony at Keep Reading Forward. I will post a link to that original post down below. This is a pretty cool book tag. All the prompts are monsters. I'm a huge fan of monsters, so I'm really looking forward to diving in, so let's just get to it. The first prompt is which a magical character or book. For this one, I would like to recommend Bone Set and Feathers by Gwendolyn Keist. Now, this book comes out in November. I got to read an advanced reader's copy. It's awesome. The central character is the last witch of her kind. Her family was wiped out by witch hunters, and she's escaped into the woods and is sort of sworn off magic. She's not going to deal with her powers at all. But one day, the Witchfinders are going to come after her again, and she is forced to reignite her relationship with her magic. Gwendolyn Keist is an incredible writer. If you've never read her, you should. Her book, The Rust Maidens, is spectacular. Her short story collection, And Her Smile Will Untether the Universe, is also great. She's one of my favorite horror writers right now. Bone Set and Feathers is a terrific book. Make sure you grab it. You will not regret it. So the second prompt is Werewolf, a perfect book to read at night. I'm going to go with a short story collection called Something Borrowed, Something Blood-Soaked by Krista Carmen. These stories are really fantastic, and Krista Carmen is a superb short story writer. These stories are dark, poetic, mysterious. Carmen has a wonderful way with language and is definitely a writer that if you have not been introduced to her, you should definitely grab this collection and check her out. Something Borrow, Something Blood-Soaked by Krista Carmen. So prompt number 3 is Frankenstein, a book that truly shocked you. I'm going to go with The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. So in this book, a gay couple and their adopted daughter are taking a cabin in the wood for the weekend. They're just going to kind of go away. They need to get away from the world. So they're in this cabin and getting some time away and having a quite lovely time. Their lovely time is cut short by this group of strangers that shows up, saying that the end of the world is coming, and they have to do something rather horrible to ensure that the end of the world doesn't happen. This book is incredibly intense, and it's thoroughly frightening. Paul Tremblay is a fantastic writer, and he knows how to create really rich emotional worlds that are also tense and fraught with very real-life horror. I found this book disturbing. I found this book really unsettling, and there is a scene in it that absolutely shocked me. I could not believe that the book was taking the turn that it took, and when you're in the hands of Paul Tremblay as a storyteller, you're in excellent hands, and you're going to be taken for a ride that you won't forget. So, Cabin at the End of the World, Paul Tremblay. Prompt number 4, The Devil, a dark, evil character. For this one, I'm going to go with Baby Teeth by Zoja Stage. So Baby Teeth is a really cool book. It's if you know the story The Bad Seed, you know that film or that play. The Bad Seed is about a mother with a daughter who everybody thinks is great, but is actually evil. And Baby Teeth is kind of like a modern riff on that. You have a mom and her daughter. Everyone thinks from the outside that the daughter is like a lovely young girl, but really she's completely terrifying and out to kill her mom and puts her through all sorts of torturous hell. The daughter is the character that I'm thinking of. Like, this book is crazy. I loved Baby Teeth. It was a really, really dark book, and that the daughter in Baby Teeth is certainly the devil. She is scary as hell. So check it out. Baby Teeth by Zoja Stage. Prompt number 5, Grim Reaper, a character that never should have died. I'm not going to get really too far into this because I feel it's kind of spoilery, but Paul Tremblay makes a second appearance here with Survivor Song. So Survivor Song is his 2020 release that's all about a rabies pandemic that breaks out in Massachusetts, and our two central characters, Natalie and Romola, who are trying to survive this one day where something terrible has happened. That's all I'm going to really say about the book because it's definitely worth reading it on your own to get all the surprises. But there is a death in this book that made me so sad and broke my heart. I wish it could have ended a different way for this character. I don't think that it could have, but I certainly wish it had. So that's the book I pick. Survivor Song, Paul Tremblay. Prompt number 6, Zombie, a book that made you hungry for more. For me, that was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is a pretty cool book. So the protagonist of Ninth House enters Yale as a freshman. She's the survivor of this mass homicide, and she's had like a really tough upbringing, got a lot of baggage, but she's offered this free ride because they would like her to become part of a team of people that monitors these secret magic societies that exist at Yale. And she gets involved in some dark stuff going on around these secret societies, and she has to unlock this mystery surrounding a murder. Ninth House is a ton of fun. I sort of like described it as like if like Harry Potter was crossed with a Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, like that together gives you a sense of what Ninth House is all about. And the first book ends with such an awesome moment that sets up the second book that I closed the book and I was like, give me the next book. I gotta go, let's get it, let's read. Really enjoyed Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Big recommend. Prompt number 7, Gargoyle, a character you would protect at all costs. I would pick the lead character from The Stitchers by Lorien Lawrence. Our lead character's name is Quinn. She has lost her dad and is living in this neighborhood where the older folks that live in the neighborhood are really super strange. Like there's something really wrong with them. And her dad sort of thought that something really strange was going on. They shared this fascination with the oldies in this community, and then something weird's going on. So she bands together with her friend, and they're going to get to the bottom of what's going on with the oldies in this neighborhood. And The Stitchers is a middle grade novel, but it's a really fun book. Like if you were one of those people who grew up on Goosebumps, you would definitely want to check out The Stitchers. It's the beginning of the Fright Watch series. It's Lawrence's debut. The book is a lot of fun. I had a blast reading it. And Quinn, I'd protect Quinn at all costs for sure. Prompt number 8, Vampire, a book that sucked the life out of you. Okay, now this may be a little bit blasphemy, and it's convenient that it's for the vampire one, but a book I have always had such trouble with is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Look, I'm a fan of Dracula the character. I'm a fan of vampire mythology. I love vampire fiction, especially contemporary vampire fiction. But I've always had such a hard time with Dracula as a book. I've gotten through it, I think, once. But in other attempts, I just wasn't able. Like, I would get distracted and I'd go someplace else. It's never a book that I feel completely works. It doesn't work for me. So I've always had trouble with it. It's the one that kind of sucks the life out of me. Sorry, Bram. I know you're a genius, but Dracula, Bram Stoker. Number 9, Ghost, a book that still haunts you. For me, this is one of my all-time favorite horror novels. It's Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I really love Pet Sematary. I think it is his best novel. It's really muscular. It's really raw. It digs into emotional territory that is upsetting and compelling. And it sticks with me. It's a book that even on rereads, I'm like, man, I love this book. I forgot how hard this book is. I forgot how challenging this book is, and I forgot like how he really goes there in this book. Pet Sematary to me is a standout in the Stephen King oeuvre, as they would maybe say, and it's definitely one that still sticks with me. It's one that haunts me. Pet Sematary. Prompt number 10, Demon, a book that really scared you. I'm going to pick Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. So the protagonist of Mexican Gothic has a cousin who's been married off, and she's been living far away. She's been living away from the family for a while. And she gets this letter from her, and basically it sort of sounds like she's really in trouble. So the protagonist's father says, hey, we need you to go and check on her to make sure everything's okay. Protagonist takes the trip. She travels out to visit the cousin in this big sort of gothic manor that's way out of the way. It's out of nowhere. It's in the dark woods on the hill someplace. And during her time there, she realizes something's really wrong, not just with the cousin, but with this entire place and this family that she's married into. Something is not cool with them. Mexican Gothic is exactly what the title says it is. This is a Gothic story of epic proportions. And I loved every second of it. It goes to some weird, messed up places that were truly scary. I loved this book. If this has sort of gone under your radar this year, make sure you go out and buy it because it's one of my faves of the year and certainly filled with a lot of really scary stuff. Mexican Gothic, Silvia Moreno Garcia. Prompt number 11, Skeleton, a character you have a bone to pick with. I'm going to go with a whole group of characters, and it's most of the main characters in Junji Ito's Shiver, which is a collection of his short stories. So, Shiver is a collection of really, really terrifically scary, creepy, gross, unsettling stories by Japanese manga horror master Junji Ito. If you don't know Junji Ito's work, Shiver is a great place to start. These stories are beyond messed up, and there are some just like shiver-inducing. His name is Shiver. There are some like terror-inducing stories in this collection. He's a real master of body horror, and that comes through in Shiver. The whole thing kind of freaked me out, and just like gives you the kind of like, you know, you don't want to meet any of these people down a dark alleyway in the middle of the night, for sure. Big time, Shiver, Junji Ito. Prompt number 12, Mummy, a book you would preserve throughout time. Bend the rules a little bit here and pick 3 of them. I'm going to go with the His Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman, The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. I know these are not horror, that these are fantasy, but if there's any trilogy of books, any series of books that has meant more to me, there isn't any, is this series. His Dark Materials is a fantastical adventure, and in this like richly imagined world that's unlike anything ever. I have such fond memories of discovering this world through my first read of the 3 books, and I go back and I reread the series every so often, and it's always a wonderful experience. I recommend these books any chance I get to somebody who's interested in trying out fantasy for the first time. They're beautifully rendered, the story's heartbreaking and beautiful and wildly imaginative. His Dark Materials, Philip Pullman, I would absolutely preserve it throughout time. And number 13, Creepy Doll, a cover too scary to look at. I started the list with her, and I'm going to end the list with her. Gwendolyn Keist's The Rust Maidens. This is her debut novel. The cover of The Rust Maidens is absolutely gorgeous and also really upsetting. It's spectacular and beautiful, terrifying, all the things, which is very similar to what the book is too. The book is also beautiful and terrifying as well. I'm a big fan of the cover of The Rust Maidens. It's one of my favorite covers, so definitely that one. The Rust Maidens, Gwendolyn Keist. So that's my Halloween Creatures book tag. A lot of cool books on the list for you to check out if you haven't read them. As always, if you like what's happening here, please like, subscribe, hit the button, leave a comment, and let's engage and talk about genre books. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.